This video could be quite long-winded, and so I'm going to put timestamps below and stuff in the description. But you know, for some people, if it were me, like I was in my situation, I would want to watch it all the way through. So today, what I am doing in this video is I want to show you how to submit your own tax return on the Finanças website. Hang on, let me rephrase that. I should say how I submitted my tax return. Obviously, I'm not an accountant, I'm not a financial expert, I'm not a tax advisor, but in a minute, I'll tell you reasons why I had to do it myself. And I would have liked to have seen this on the internet just to give me a little bit of guidance, set me in the right direction. So obviously your situation is going to be different, but obviously just to get in there and set it up is the same for everybody. So I'm going to show you that, but we're all grown-ups, but obviously I have to say I'm just showing you how I did it. Now, I did pay for an expert to talk me through the return. This was last year, but this year, as the title, I think I've put it in the title, I'm going to put in the title, ChatGPT helped me immensely. Now, if you're a user of this particular AI, you will know that at the bottom of every chat, it warns you that it can make mistakes, and you might think it's not a good idea to use it for your tax return, but let me tell you, it is on point. I asked it things and gave it scenarios and questions which I fully knew the answer for, which I got from a tax advisor, which I paid for, because I just wanted to see like what it was coming out with, and it was on point. So let me just tell you a bit of background on why I needed ChatGPT this year and why I'm doing my own tax return. So last year, I thought I had an accountant lined up to do it. A Portuguese friend said, yeah, their accountant can do it. It will cost €30 and to come back in April. I couldn't get an appointment with her. I couldn't, communication broke down. I couldn't get that sorted out. So I went about trying to find other accountants. I contacted 5 in total, and I could not get any to answer phone calls, emails, WhatsApp messages. I just couldn't get an accountant. The deadline was getting closer and closer. The only person that responded to me, they wasn't actually an accountant, which I didn't realise. I asked for a recommendation and their number was given to me. They were tax advisors. I had a long conversation with them to tell them what I needed, but now their fees were astronomical. So it's not to say that they wasn't worth it or of any value. They had a lot of expertise in, experience and understand international tax situations. But for me and my situation, it was just a basic tax return I needed, and they didn't have like a pricing structure that meant I wouldn't be, it just meant I would have been paying a lot, and it was just totally disproportionate to what, the earnings I'm reporting to what it was just completely disproportionate. It was not on my level. It was out of my pay scale, and probably brilliant if you're a high earner and have very complex international tax needs, but just not for me. So I started doing it myself. Somebody else that had submitted their return kind of like talked me through how they did it, and I started to do it myself, but I just had problems. There's so much to fill in, although most of it you don't fill in, you leave blank, but I wasn't to know that. There was bits that it really sounded, just the way it was worded, you'd think like where I had to report rental income, the heading of where you think you report it was not the place, and I just couldn't work out the codes. So I got back in contact with this very expensive tax advisor, and it's a good job I wrote a very polite email to say thank you, but no thank you, I won't be using your services, and just said, look, can you just help me? I've started my return. Can you just help me with the bits that I'm not sure with how to fill out? Just talk me through it and help me with the codes. So the only service they offered that I could use in order to do this was a 1-hour consultation. So and that cost me €275. And we'll talk about costing in a minute, because just to get a tax return done by an accountant usually costs between 30 and 60 euros. So anyway, so I paid this 200, let's just call it nearly 300 euros to me. And we shared the screen and he talked me through it, and he was very good, and I got the tax return completed. There was a few problems and errors, but obviously he was at the other end of the phone and sharing the screen. So when we got error messages, he knew exactly how to correct them. So this year, when I went to do my tax return, even though I had last year's to copy, and actually I'll get onto that in a minute, because what I should have done, I didn't do, but I'm going to explain it to you because I've made all the mistakes. So I went to do my return, I recorded the call with him, and so I could, I could re-watch him talking me through it. But I just kept getting error codes, and I was coming up with a problem and I couldn't submit it. So I thought, well, actually, ChatGPT helped me with some UK pension things recently. Let me see if it can answer these questions. Well, let me tell you, it was brilliant. It can basically walk you through the entire return, step by step, section by section, question by question. So I gave it my scenario, I gave it my situation, I even gave it my figures, and it was brilliant. The only thing is, I kept coming up with this error message. Different error messages actually, and I was at it all day, and I did get to the point where I thought, oh God, I'm going to have to go to the Finanças local office or get an accountant, because this just isn't working. But I don't know. We worked our way through it, and I even asked it at one point what people are saying on the internet in forums and such. And it came back with this particular problem that lots of people are having. The system really hasn't kept up with online income and internet, cross international, and not actually. Anyway, it's just not kept up with digital work online. So this video, I should have said this at the beginning, I might chop this back in. This video could be quite long-winded, and so I'm going to put timestamps below and stuff in the description. But, for some people, if it were me, like I was in my situation, I would want to watch it all the way through. But anyway, let me get to it and show you. So the first thing we're going to do is change the page to display in English. Now is not the time to practice our Portuguese. So the first thing you're going to have to do is log in with your NIF number and password. I'm assuming that's something you already know how to do. If not, you're going to have to go away and sort that out and then come back. So on the main page, you will see all these boxes, and you will see IRS. Obviously, you're going to click on that. If you don't see it, then you can go up to the search bar and click IRS and search, and then you'll get a menu come up, and it's the first one, and then you just click to enter into the IRS tax section there. And then you are going to click here to submit a declaration, and then you're going to choose the fourth one on the list to create an empty declaration. We've got to go through each of these sections. So 0 is just information, and then obviously it's a whole lot easier because it's a lot of information if that is in English. Then this section 1 is where you put in the code for your branch of the finance office, which will be your nearest one. I'll show you how to find that. First, you're going to be in my area, and then you're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom, and you're going to click on personal data. Then on the right hand side under your space, you're going to click on the second choice. Here it's in English, integrated tax situation. That's then going to take you to this page with the 4 boxes. On the first box, you're going to click on there. There's your information, and there you will see your allocated branch. This is where we're going to put the year of the tax return. So it's the year behind. Although we're now in June 2025, it's the year behind. It's when the tax year starts, basically. So we're going to do 2024. So section number 3, this box you leave blank, you can't fill it in anyway, doesn't let you. Obviously you fill your NIF in here. Here you put in, if you have a disability, what percentage you are. Obviously that's something that's predetermined by a test and then registered with the tax office. There are some tax benefits if you have a disability over a certain percent, but obviously I do not have any, so I put 0 in here. There was nothing else in this section for me to fill in. So section number 4 is quite straightforward, just your marital status, so just tick which one you are, single, divorced, widowed, whatever. This section doesn't apply to me because I ticked single in the previous box, but if you was in a partnership and you was doing a joint tax return, then here is where you would put information for your partner here, or select no that you're not doing a joint tax return and that sort of thing. But you can see what it says, but this section doesn't apply to me. Section 6 and 7 didn't apply to me. It's where you put things about family, dependents, maybe elderly parents that are living with you, but neither of those sections applied to me. So here I had to click continent because I am in mainland Portugal, and then number 9 is where you put your bank details for any tax refunds due. This is where we say what type of declaration we're submitting. For this one, it's the first declaration of the year. You can, if you had submitted one previously, you can submit another one and then that overwrites the previous one if you made some mistakes or something, which is quite good because if you do realise you messed it up, you could go and void that one and submit a new one, as I understand it. Just remember, everything I'm saying to you, I am not an expert. Please double check and do your own due diligence, but that's how I understand number 10. We now go to section 11. This is, I believe, where you can donate to particular institutions, even football clubs you can do here, but we are not doing any of that. So that is just all left blank. Next, now your eyes do not deceive you. Yes, this jumps from 11 to number 13. Here, I do not understand it, but I have been told there is nothing for me to fill in here. So this is now where we start adding information that is relevant to us. So we are going to go into, well, it says attachments here because we've got it translated to English, and then we add attachment. And this is where you need to choose your categories for your income. So as you can see, they're listed here. Now you might think Annex F, like I was saying earlier, is where I would report rental income from the UK, but it isn't. Who would know? So this is where you can get on and ask ChatGPT what codes and annexes your type of income falls under. And as I say, when I tested it, it was absolutely on point. The information corresponded perfectly with what I was given by a tax advisor, which I paid handsomely for. So therefore, get my money's worth and share it with you here. So you click on the annexes which you want to add. You have to put your tax number in each time, and then they will then be added to your declaration as tabs across the top. You'll see them all there, the ones that you've added. So now we need to fill in all the sections for this annex. The year is already done because we filled that in earlier. Then we put in our NIF, and then we have to put in our nationality. And if you have dual nationality, other passports, you will add those in as well. For me, it's just the UK. So the next section 4 is income for employment. Then it's number 5 is pension income. I don't have any of these. For me, I need to complete number 6 for online income. So you then have to go and add each activity if you've got more than one. So you just add a line and you just add the line as it indicates here. It will tell you what number to start at. So for this, it's 601 because it says it here. So you just copy that. Now, this is the difficult part. This is basically why I had to pay somebody nearly €300 to talk me through this, because I could not work out the income codes. I mean, I never would have worked out all this. Who would have thought that rental income does not come under the section called rental income? Do you see why I'm saying you really need to, you can't use this video as instructions, but you can use it as a starting point. So I am going to go and look up my codes from last year and put that in. But as I have discovered now, this is where you can use ChatGPT to give you all the correct codes. So next you select the country for the source of the income, and then next you answer yes or no. Is it a fixed establishment? Obviously no, because it's online. You then put in your earnings. The next box is for if you paid any social security contributions. Obviously this does not apply to me, but if you was working abroad and paying social security and tax, you would put it in there. Then this box B, for every line you have put some work in table A. In box B, you have to confirm whether you spent under 183 days or above 183 days in or out of the country working. Because obviously for me this is online work, but this could be physical work for a foreign company. Now I'll just quickly show you the next line, which is some rental income. Gone down to number 7, we add our line. Again, we start using this number here, 701. There was only one choice, building income. This time this income has come from the UK. Now the net yield, the Amazon earnings came in euros. This comes in Great British pounds, so we have to convert it. You can't just go on and choose any random conversion rate. You have to use the yearly average for 2024 from the Banco de Portugal. That's the official rate you have to use. So you would now rinse and repeat this for different types of work, different types of income. I mean, we could be here all day if we went through it all, but this is where you can now refer back to ChatGPT and give it the exact section that you're in, give it the exact line, box, and it will tell you how to complete the form. So I am going to end showing you the rest there. So you've finished, you've filled out the lines, the annexes, you've ticked the boxes, you go to submit, and then it won't submit. You get error messages. You look back on your completed forms and there's big red marks and errors. So you try to fix them and they keep on coming up and it keeps on telling you you've done it wrong. If you are a digital nomad or you earn your income online, the system does not quite understand that. You have to fill in the section that says you're self-employed, but you're not self-employed in the traditional sense and the system can't quite grasp that. So ChatGPT and I are going backwards and forwards trying to fix this. And by now, I'm now using chat as my therapist. But then after hours, and I mean hours, we did it. And you know, earlier I said I already have made the mistakes. I think this probably is the most valuable part of the video. If you did a return last year and your circumstances are the same, and all you have to do is input this year's figures, I suggest you just bring up last year's tax return, screen record it, copy it, word for word, box for box, obviously submit this year's figures. That's the easiest way to do it. So here I'm going to show you how to bring that up. So to retrieve last year's return, for me it looks like this because I've only just submitted mine, but I'm going to click on declaration submitted, and then I can choose previous declarations and as you can see, I can choose the year I want. For you, if it doesn't look like this, you can go back to the instructions at the beginning of the video for submitting a declaration. Then you choose, I think it's number 3, and then where we chose the year before, you're going to look at the drop-down menu and choose the previous year. To get a simple return done, just paying an accountant. I mean, I'd rather just pay an accountant. The usual price is, like I said, between 30 and 60 euros. But the foreigner price is 400 euros for the same thing. I know I've been quoted 400 euros before in the past. And I know many people that pay 300 to 400 euros. That's the immigrant price. So, but for whatever reason, you might need to or want to do it yourself. So I hope that helped. If you are a regular in my channel, you know I don't ask to like my videos, subscribe to my videos. But if you do know someone that you think would find this useful, please do share it with them, because I know I would have liked to have seen this when I was trying to find information about how to do your own tax returns. So do share it with them, and do like if you have found it useful, because it just lets me know that people have found this useful, because it did take a little while for me to do and record all the screens and try and go through it for you. So yeah, hope that helps, and good luck. Oh, you may or may not know, I have a PDF guide where I've used goods and services in Portugal, right from moving here to living here. Sometimes it's hard to get good help and support and services. So I've put the ones that I've used and like and would recommend and have been good value, good service. I've put them all in this PDF. So I think I am going to put this tax advisor in my PDF because he was very good. As I said, better for higher earners, not for your basic tax return and if you're a low earner. But if you're a higher earner and probably if you're a higher earner, you probably wouldn't be watching this. But anyway, I'm going to put him in my guide. And again, I will put details of that somewhere in the description below the video.